And welcome back to our broadcast. You know, we have policies in this nation, virtually every state in this nation, that sets certain requirements as to some things you can or can't do. Deep concern over the smoking ban. I know I was an attorney many years ago for the one of the major insurance companies in this country, and I was on the team that opposed any settlements because of lung disease when the lawsuits were initially filed. It took a number of years for individuals to prevail against the cigarette manufacturers. And I was a very light smoker back in when I first started practicing law. But when I saw the lungs, when I saw what happened to that smoke, I could see with the dangers. And quite frankly, I changed my opinion. Alcohol, the same way. We don't let anybody buy alcohol in many states, 18, other states, 21, because of the social apologies of the damage. We focus on young children. Once you're an adult, do anything you want. But when you're a young child, then often certain restrictions are put in place. Now, here's where I'm coming to on this. I played high school football, as so many people did. I love to watch the pros and college football. And there's been a lot of talk about concussions. Apparently, there are little things called neons that affect your brain or that make up the brain. And in many instances, muscle tissue, blood, other things can replenish itself. But these neons cannot replenish itself. Once you kill them, they don't come back again. Now, you've got probably hundreds of thousands of such of these neons in your brain, in your head. And so losing a few doesn't hurt. But when it happens time after time, it certainly has its results. Now, I'm talking about high school football. I'm talking about kids in junior high who play football that take these hard hits. Often the equipment the pros use or the colleges use it's not as affordable, so the helmets don't have quite the protection. And young people are taking these hits time after time after time. And the damage cannot be mitigated. You can't heal from the loss of the neons in your brain. Most kids make it okay, but over a period of time, great damage can take place. I was a big Chicago Bears football fan. Jim McMahon was a quarterback I loved who played some 20, 25 years ago. McMahon is, I think, 53 years old today, and his wife says she can't let him out of the house because he won't be able to find his way back in. He has some short memory and remembrance, but overall he has very little. So many concussions. He remembered being hospitalized for 4 concussions in his pro career, but those who have looked at him, and his wife says he probably had numerous other concussions, and they start back at a very young age. And so I guess the question is, there's some real debate in this country about allowing kids that young to play football. Junior high, that now they're starting in 5th, 6th, 7th grade. Every time you take that pop, you lose certain neons, and it's a permanent damage that comes to you over a period of time. What's the bottom line? I don't know. I like soccer personally. I've got a little granddaughter that plays soccer at very high competitive levels in Texas. She's in high school. But even soccer is causing some problems on the heading. When you head the ball, the damage you can do. Of course, we know about boxing. I think the rule the thumb ought to be that at a certain age, okay, we open it up. I think to ease into it till we learn more about this whole thing, I'd like to see high school football. You can't play football until maybe your sophomore year in high school, and then build up from there and study the results over a period of time. We don't know the long range damage potential, but there certainly is a lot of damage. You know, one of the shortest life expectancies of any group of athletes is professional football players. And complications take place because of the concussions of the hits that take place. So how much further down do you go? I'd certainly like to see maybe sophomore in high school. You can't play football till then. And if the studies show enough, then we move on. As much as we love football in this country, at what price do we pay for the damage to our young people that are guided by their peers, look up to the pros as icons, as examples, and yet do permanent damage to themselves? Most high school kids are not even going to make it to college as an athlete, let alone make it up to the pros. Yet we're subjecting them to potential damage that can affect them for the entire rest of their life. So you can weigh in on the website and see whether you agree or not. I think there's some real concern and some justification for limiting football to at least starting off in the sophomore year and studying particularly the potential. I'm sure my son played sophomore year in high school football, then gave it up. I'm really glad he did. I'd love for him to be an all-star today, but he wasn't going to do that, as most kids are not. And the damage he could sustain would be very detrimental. So as a concerned parent, you make your own call, but I think it's a real dangerous thing to continue high school football at the level we're playing with it right now for young people to suffer those damaging hits that could result in permanent damage over a long period of time. I'll be right back.